This video series is a remake of a plot explanation I made for 13 Sentinels back in 2020 with the original Western launch. I'm remaking it now due to the Switch port being released, and also because the original had poor audio quality. Please enjoy and be wary of spoilers throughout the entirety of these 7 videos. The 13 pilots are fighting to buy time for Inaba's plan, which she told Shu, Natsuno and Tomi about before, but she can only reach 90% of her analysis before the space station she's on passes behind the planet they're on, cutting her off from them for 14 hours, meaning they will need to fight continuously until she returns. They do their best to fight through the night until Renya contacts Chihiro again in the early morning and points out that she was able to send messages via the satellite when it was out of range in the past, so she must have a workaround. She asks if he's going to blackmail her into helping them, but he admits he's simply asking a favor. She admits she's grown to like him and agrees to help by moving the smaller satellites around the planet to bounce a signal to Inaba and back, but doing so will cause them to fall out of orbit. She tells them they must take responsibility for their own futures if they succeed, and reconnects them to Inaba. Preparing to make their last stand, Juro, Renya and Inaba explain to the others why the kaiju attacks are happening. Universal Control is referencing the decode inside them that the original Ryoko added to sabotage the project to create them, and it doesn't realize that they are a threat. The Aegis system then numbs it to the damage they cause it, meaning it doesn't resist the kaiju when they sabotage the system and cause it to reset. Inaba's plan is to broadcast a signal from her command ship that will bypass the Aegis system's anesthetic effect so the supercomputer can understand it is under attack. Inaba asks them to protect the final terminal while she transmits the signal. They do so, with Universal Control also working on life support in the process. Inaba's plan succeeds, but Universal Control shuts down and initiates an emergency evacuation procedure. The 13 awaken but are trapped inside their cockpits, unable to see the outside world, though are still able to communicate with each other. Okuno contacts them and tells them that not only is he safe, Tamao is too, albeit unconscious. He helps explain the nature of the simulation to those who are still unaware of it. Inaba admits that this was their only hope of survival, but that 426 couldn't implement it right away because their bodies couldn't survive outside of their life pods until they had matured, which has finally occurred. But as they were the only real humans, these 15 are the only ones who are able to leave. All 6 million other people, 1.2 million in each sector, were merely AI managed by Universal Control, which is now shut down, though Chihiro backed up their data. Inaba tells them that their new planet is situated 1200 light years from Earth and is called RS-13 Alpha. She bids her farewells, and the 15 are shown videos from the original Morimura and Tamao that were recorded for them to see if the project ended successfully. Juro wakes up in the real world and leaves his pod where Megumi greets him, telling him he is the last one awake and leads him to the others. The 15 survivors take their first steps onto their new Earth and resolve to live. 5 years later, Inaba and Ida work with the 15 to reboot Universal Control and restore Sector 4 to just before the kaiju invasion. Ida apologizes for everything he did but reconciles with Inaba. He asks to join her on the command ship after the remaining sectors are brought back online, and then to sing for him, just as Shu did during the battle. Ryoko and Renya meet Chihiro and tell her they have found the original Ryoko's research and want to build bodies for the AI so they can join them in the real world. Chihiro realizes they have won the bet and don't need her help anymore, though Ryoko convinces her to peer review their work. Still having her sibling affection for Keitaro, Renya and Ryoko take Chihiro to go and see him. Back in Sakura High, Iori and Tomi have a tearful reunion with Miwako, who doesn't understand why they're so emotional. Nenji teases Tomi, though this exchange reveals that the two are married with children in the real world. Iori and A are also a couple, but A stayed in the real world to monitor the other's pod due to his anti-sociability. Juro thanks 426, who's in his cuter form, for all his help both inside the simulation and in the real world. However, 426 tells him he'll be staying inside the simulation now that it has returned, though he promises to show up for dinner with him and Megumi. Outside the gate, Ogata reunites with his rivals from another school, while Natsuno reveals that BJ is also alive. She and Keitaro thank him for the data that he found, which they're still using 5 years later, and it's also how they were able to return here, and offer to show him the real world by loading him into their nanomachines. Natsuno tells Keitaro she wants to introduce her future husband to her parents, and the pair meet Yuki and Shu, who are also married and have a daughter who looks identical to Natsuno. This is because the 2188 Natsuno was the 2188 Yuki's daughter. Takatoshi shows Tamao the old Sakura High School in Sector 4, where they run into Okuno, who also revived the old Tamao. The two Tamaos talk about the experiences of the other compatibles, while Okuno takes Takatoshi on a date. Finally, Kyuta re-enters Juro's classroom and meets Chihiro. Returning to his true form, he reminds her of the promise he made to her 2 loops ago. He tells her that he confessed his feelings for her in the intervening loop, but while she doesn't remember this due to not backing up her memories during it, she admits she always loved him anyway. The pair choose to make a fresh start here. There is a final scene titled Infinite Possibilities, showing the kaiju attacking Sector 4 once more as Nenji and Natsuno bear witness. This takes place on yet another planet many light light years away. If you recall, the DNA of the 15 survivors were dispersed throughout the universe by several probes, and what we see here is another simulation running on another facility on another planet that was terraformed to be yet another Earth. As the title of the scene states, with countless self-propagating probes floating through space, there really are an infinite number of ways these events could unfold across each of those planets. Thank you for watching this series to the end. To anyone watching this, if you have any questions or corrections, please let me know in the comments below, as I would like to make a bonus video covering them if possible. Please consider spreading this video to others you think would find it useful, and subscribe for more content just like this. Thank you all again for your support, and as always, have a great day.